The third episode of Heartland Season 19, Ghosts, is set to air on October 19th, 2025, and it's already building a storm of emotions among fans. From the very first moment, the tone feels different, deeper, quieter, and yet more intense. Amy Fleming finds herself returning to the place where everything changed, Pike Rivers, a name that longtime fans will instantly recognize. It's here that Amy and Nathan will be working on a search and rescue project with their horses. But what starts as a noble mission soon turns into something far more personal. Every trail, every sound, every quiet wind through the trees seems to whisper a name that Amy has tried so hard to live without. Ty. It's not the first time Heartland has explored loss, but this time it feels raw. Like Amy is standing face to face with the very memories she spent years trying to make peace with. When she looks at the horses galloping through the mist, it's almost as if she can feel Ty's presence there, in the rhythm of their hooves, in the strength of their bond. And that's what makes Ghosts so powerful. It's not about spirits or the supernatural, but about the invisible connections that stay long after someone is gone. The episode doesn't rush. It moves with the same grace Heartland has always had, letting emotion breathe, letting silence say what words can't. As Amy works with Nathan, there's a subtle tension between them, a quiet understanding that both carry their own ghosts. Nathan, with his calm strength, becomes more than just a partner on the field. He becomes a mirror, reflecting Amy's journey of rediscovery. And when he mentions something from his own past, a loss he never truly faced, Amy realizes she isn't alone in her struggle. Meanwhile, back at Heartland Ranch, life continues, but something feels off. Lou senses it first. That shift in the air, that silence before something big happens. She's been trying to balance work, family, and leadership, but even she can't shake the feeling that Amy's trip to Pike Rivers is about to reopen old wounds. Gracie, ever curious and brave, joins Lou on a task that takes them deep into the woods, tracking a wolf that's been spotted near the ranch. It's not just a subplot. It mirrors Amy's own confrontation with her fears. As Lou faces the wild, Amy faces her heart. And then there's Jack, steady, wise, and protective as always. He watches Amy leave for Pike Rivers with a quiet worry. He's seen this look before, the same determination mixed with pain. He knows this journey could bring peace or break her all over again. The episode plays with that tension beautifully. Each scene feels layered, every look holds meaning, and as the day fades into dusk at Pike Rivers, Amy finds something unexpected, an old keepsake from Ty, something she thought she'd lost forever. It's a small, simple thing, but it opens a floodgate of emotion. That's where Ghosts truly earns its title, because the ghosts here aren't meant to scare. They're meant to heal. They're the echoes of love, the reminders of what once was and what still lingers in the soul. As Amy holds that keepsake, her expression shifts. Pain, warmth, and acceptance all blending together. She realizes that maybe moving forward doesn't mean letting go. Maybe it means carrying the memory with her, not as a burden, but as a light. But just when it feels like she's found peace, something changes. Nathan receives a call, urgent, sharp, and serious. A missing rider. The rescue mission turns from emotional to critical. The tone shifts from reflection to suspense in an instant. Heartland has always mastered these transitions, from quiet heartbeats to racing pulses. As Amy and Nathan gear up to search through the night, that haunting feeling returns. Not fear, but fate. The ghosts of the past are now walking beside them, guiding or warning, it's unclear. And with that, the episode teases what's coming. A storm, both in the skies and in the heart. Because sometimes, when you chase the lost, you end up finding yourself. Ghosts is shaping up to be an episode that reminds us why Heartland isn't just a show. It's a feeling, a story of loss, love, and the unbreakable spirit of family. And as October 19th draws closer, fans everywhere are holding their breath, ready to ride through the past one more time with Amy Fleming. The night at Pike Rivers grows colder, the sky heavy with the promise of rain. As Amy and Nathan saddle their horses for the late-night rescue, the faint hum of crickets fades into silence, the kind of silence that feels alive. Every sound, every movement carries weight. Amy's heart beats faster, not just from the urgency of the mission, but from the memories pressing against her mind. The forest around them seems to breathe with its own pulse, and somewhere deep inside, Amy feels that this journey is about more than just saving a stranger. It's about saving herself. As they ride through the dark trails, their flashlights cutting through the fog, the echoes of Ty's voice seem to follow her, not in words, but in feelings. The calm he brought during chaos, the courage he gave her when things fell apart. Nathan notices her silence and asks if she's all right. Amy just nods, her eyes fixed ahead, but there's something different in her expression, a strength mixed with sorrow, the look of someone who knows that healing doesn't always happen in the light. Back at Heartland Ranch, the atmosphere is tense. Lou's phone keeps buzzing with updates about the weather, and the wolf sighting from earlier has stirred up worry among the ranch hands. Gracie tries to distract herself by helping Jack in the barn, but even she can sense that something feels wrong. Jack, ever the voice of calm, tells her that sometimes people need to walk through their storm to see the sunrise. His words hang heavy in the air, especially when Lou walks in holding a call report from Pike Rivers, a rescue mission gone dark, with no radio contact for the last 20 minutes. Lou's face tightens. She knows her sister. When Amy gets involved, she gives her heart completely. That's what makes her who she is, but it's also what scares Lou the most. She steps outside, looking toward the horizon where the storm clouds are gathering. The wind picks up, rattling the barn doors. It's as if Heartland itself can feel the unease. The ranch that has always been a place of peace suddenly feels restless, as though it knows that one of its own is walking straight into danger. Meanwhile, in the forest, Amy and Nathan find a broken trail, a sign of the missing rider's horse. They follow it carefully, the rain beginning to fall in slow, cold drops. Every step their horses take sounds louder in the stillness, echoing through the trees. The camera of your mind almost feels it. The flicker of light, the heavy breathing, the tension before discovery. And then, in the distance, they hear it. A faint cry. Not loud, not clear, but enough to send a chill down Amy's spine. They follow the sound, calling out into the night, their voices swallowed by the wind. When they finally find the missing rider, relief washes over Amy, but only for a moment. The rider is injured, shaken, and keeps repeating something strange. "There was someone else here," he says weakly. "I saw someone standing by the trees, watching." Amy freezes. She looks around, her flashlight scanning the thick woods, but there's nothing there. Just shadows, moving with the wind. But something inside her stirs. That unshakable sense of being followed, not by danger, but by memory. Nathan brushes it off as shock, but Amy isn't sure. The rescue continues, but the tone changes again. The quiet peace that Heartland is known for turns into an eerie calm. When they finally bring the rider to safety, Amy can't stop glancing back at the forest. For the first time in a long while, she feels like Ty is near. Not haunting her, but reminding her that he's still part of her journey. As they load the rider into the rescue vehicle, Nathan looks at Amy and says softly, "You did good tonight." She smiles faintly, but her eyes tell a different story. A story of emotions too big for words. Back at Heartland, Lou receives the update that the mission was a success. The relief is visible, but so is her worry. She knows Amy's heart, and she knows that being back in Pike Rivers means opening old scars. Jack comforts her, saying that Amy's been through darker nights and always found her way home. Lou nods, but as the thunder rolls outside, she whispers, "Maybe this time, the past isn't ready to let her go." The episode seems to draw its strength from contrasts: safety and danger, love and loss, peace and fear. It's that emotional balance that makes Ghosts stand out. The pacing slows again as Amy rides back toward Heartland at dawn, the soft morning light breaking through the clouds. The rain has stopped, but the world feels different. She's quiet, reflective, and somewhere deep in her heart, she knows she's changed. But just as she approaches the ranch gates, something unexpected catches her eye. A figure standing near the fence, facing the sunrise. For a split second, it feels like Ty. Amy blinks, and the figure is gone. Was it just her imagination, or something more? Heartland doesn't give answers easily, and that's what makes Ghosts so hauntingly beautiful. It doesn't try to explain the unexplainable. Instead, it lets the audience feel it, that bittersweet space between what's real and what's remembered. As the scene fades, Amy whispers something under her breath, something only Ty would understand. And though no one else hears it, the moment says everything. The past is never truly gone. It just changes shape. With this quiet yet powerful ending to the second act, the episode deepens its emotional pull. The mystery is growing, the tension is rising, and Amy's heart is leading her somewhere she's not ready to go. Because sometimes, the hardest part of moving forward is realizing that some ghosts don't come to haunt, they come to guide. Morning rises over Heartland with a strange stillness, the kind that feels heavy, as if the land itself is holding its breath. The storm from the night before has passed, leaving the fields drenched in gold and gray. Amy walks through the barnyard, the air thick with the smell of wet hay and earth. Her boots sink slightly into the soft mud as she reaches to pat Spartan's neck, feeling the familiar comfort of his presence. Yet even in this moment of calm, her mind is far from still. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees the forest again. The shadows, the whisper, and that figure near the fence. Was it real? Or just her heart wanting to believe that Ty is still watching over her? Amy has always been strong, but grief is a strange kind of storm. It never fully leaves. It just hides behind clearer skies. As she brushes Spartan's mane, Nathan walks in, his expression thoughtful. He asks her if she's slept. She smiles faintly and says she's fine, but he can tell she's lying. He doesn't press. He knows that silence is sometimes the only language pain understands. Instead, he tells her that the rescue team reviewed the area where they found the injured rider, but there were no other footprints, no signs of anyone else. Still, Amy can't shake the feeling that they missed something. Meanwhile, Lou is juggling chaos back at the ranch house. Calls from clients, meetings for the town, and her ongoing concern for Amy. She tries to convince herself that Amy just needs space, but deep down, she's worried that this return to Pike Rivers has stirred something dangerous. Not physically, but emotionally. She talks to Jack, hoping for reassurance, but his silence says more than words. "Sometimes," he says quietly, "the heart calls us back to the places we broke so we can remember how we healed." It's classic Jack wisdom. Simple, yet cutting straight to the truth. The story shifts focus to Nathan for a moment. We learn more about his past, something only hinted at before. He once lost someone too, in a rescue mission that went wrong. That pain, buried beneath his calm exterior, is what connects him to Amy. When he tells her the story, it's not for sympathy, but for understanding. "You never really stop missing them," he says. "You just learn how to live in the space they left behind." Amy listens quietly, her eyes distant. That line echoes in her mind like a heartbeat, carrying her through the day. Later that afternoon, Amy takes a quiet ride out to the ridge overlooking the valley. The sun cuts through the mist, painting everything in soft gold. She stops for a moment, letting Spartan rest, and looks out at the vast open land. For a while, there's peace. But then, that same feeling again. Someone's there. Watching. The hairs on her arms rise as Spartan snorts and shifts his hooves nervously. Amy turns slowly, her eyes scanning the distant tree line, but there's nothing there except the wind whispering through the grass. And yet, deep in her chest, she feels it. The weight of a memory that refuses to fade. She takes a deep breath and whispers, "If you're here, give me a sign." It's a fragile plea, one born not out of fear, but longing. The breeze stirs, carrying a faint rustle from the nearby oak trees. And then, without warning, a small charm falls from her saddlebag. Amy freezes. It's the same charm Ty gave her years ago, a horseshoe pendant he said would keep her safe. She hasn't seen it in years. Her hands tremble as she picks it up. The world goes silent. In that moment, she feels him, not as a ghost, not as a vision, but as warmth, as presence. Her eyes fill with tears, and for the first time in a long while, she lets herself cry. Back at the ranch, Lou and Jack sense the shift even without knowing what's happening. Lou pauses while sorting paperwork, glancing out the window toward the horizon. "She's okay," Jack says quietly, not looking up from his coffee. "Sometimes when you talk to the past, it answers." His words hang in the air, wrapping around the moment like comfort. As Amy returns home later that evening, the light is fading again. The clouds part just enough for the first stars to appear. She's quiet during dinner, lost in thought, until Lou finally asks if something happened. Amy hesitates, then simply says, "I found something I thought I lost." Lou doesn't push further. She can see in Amy's eyes that whatever happened out there wasn't something that needs explaining. It's something that needs feeling. But peace never lasts long in Heartland. That night, a call comes in from Pike Rivers again, another sighting in the same forest where Amy and Nathan found the rider. This time, it's not about a rescue, but a report of strange lights near the trail. Nathan wants to check it out, and Amy, despite her exhaustion, agrees to go. She doesn't know why, but something inside tells her that this isn't over yet. As they drive out under the pale moonlight, the episode's tone shifts once again. Suspense creeps back in. The forest looks different now, colder, more alive. When they reach the trailhead, Nathan scans the area with a flashlight. The beam catches something metallic glinting in the dirt, a piece of a broken stirrup. Amy kneels to inspect it and realizes it's old, weathered by time. Not from last night, much older. The mystery deepens. The air grows thicker, the woods quieter, even the horses seem uneasy. Amy's heartbeat echoes in her ears as they move deeper into the trees. Every crack of a branch makes her flinch. Every whisper of wind feels like words just beyond hearing. "Ghosts," Nathan mutters softly, half joking, half serious. Amy doesn't respond, because this time she isn't sure they're alone. The deeper Amy and Nathan go into the forest, the heavier the night feels. The air is thick, damp with mist, and even the horses step carefully as if they sense something they can't explain. The moon hides behind drifting clouds, turning the world into shifting shades of silver and shadow. Every sound carries, the crunch of twigs beneath their boots, the distant hoot of an owl, the low rustle of wind through dry leaves. It's quiet, but not peaceful. It's the kind of quiet that feels like the world is watching. Nathan walks slightly ahead, his flashlight scanning the ground, while Amy keeps glancing behind them. Her instincts, sharpened by years of working with horses and nature, are telling her something's wrong. The deeper they go, the stronger the feeling becomes. Not danger exactly, but presence. When Nathan stops near a clearing, Amy notices something odd. A faint shimmer of light flickering through the trees ahead. It's soft, almost golden, like the glow of a lantern swaying in the dark. They move closer, cautiously, and find the source. An old wooden cabin, half hidden by overgrown vines and fallen branches. The place looks abandoned, its windows fogged, its door hanging crooked on one hinge. Yet the light inside flickers steadily, as if someone's home. Amy feels a chill crawl up her arms. "I didn't know there was a cabin out here," she whispers. Nathan shakes his head slowly. "Neither did I." For a moment, they just stand there, listening. No movement, no sound. Then, faintly, the creak of a floorboard from inside. Nathan steps forward, pushing the door open carefully. The smell of damp wood and dust fills the air. The inside is cluttered but peaceful. Old tools, a small table, and a few horse photos pinned to the wall. Amy steps closer, her flashlight beam landing on a familiar face in one of the photos, Ty standing beside a rescue horse years ago. Her breath catches. "Nathan, this is Ty's photo." Her voice trembles, part disbelief, part longing. Nathan looks at her confused. "Maybe it got left here from one of the old search projects," he suggests, but even he doesn't sound convinced. Amy kneels, brushing the dust off the table. There's a notebook, its pages yellowed and curled from time. She opens it carefully, and her heart pounds when she sees the handwriting. Ty's, unmistakable looping letters she's seen 1,000 times. It's a log from one of their old training sessions, Notes about the horses, reminders, and at the end, a single line that reads, "No matter where I go, she'll always bring me home." The world seems to stop for a moment. Amy's eyes blur with tears as her fingers trace the ink. Nathan stands silently behind her, giving her space. There's nothing he can say. Some moments don't need words. They just need to be felt. Amy closes the notebook and takes a shaky breath. "I think this is why I was meant to come back here," she whispers. Nathan nods. Maybe some ghosts just want to be remembered. Just then, the wind picks up, rattling the cabin walls. A sudden bang. The door slams shut behind them. The lantern light flickers violently. For a heartbeat, Amy freezes, her chest tight with fear. The horses outside whinny nervously. Nathan rushes to the door, but it won't open. The temperature drops sharply, the kind of cold that sinks straight to the bone. Amy stands still, staring at the photo of Ty on the wall. The light from the lantern softens, dimming to a faint glow that seems to gather around that single image. And then, almost imperceptibly, she feels it again. That warmth, that quiet comfort that used to fill her whenever Ty was near. She closes her eyes. It's not a vision, not a voice, but a feeling. Gentle, steady, real. The fear drains from her as quickly as it came. Nathan finally manages to pry the door open, and the cold night air rushes in. When they step outside, the storm clouds have cleared. The forest is silent again, but now the silence feels different, peaceful, forgiving. As they head back toward the trail, Amy keeps glancing back at the cabin, the faint glow still shining through the window. She knows what she felt, even if she can't explain it. Some things aren't meant to be explained. They're meant to be carried. When they reach the truck, Nathan says quietly, "Whatever that was, maybe it was him telling you it's okay." Amy doesn't answer, but the look in her eyes says everything.